Now let's see some more complex examples. So we'll define two variables in this case, x and y. Var x will equal 8 and variable y will be equal to 3.42. So we have two variables x and y which equals 8 and 3.42 respectively. Now let's define a bit more complex condition inside the if block. So in this case, as you can see, we're not only using comparison operators, but we're binding two comparisons together using a logical operator. So in this case, we're defining if, and then inside the parentheses, we're saying x is less than 10 and y is strictly equal to 3.42. Now, again, in order for the code inside the if block to be executed, the condition inside the parentheses must return true. And in this case, we have two conditions inside the parentheses binded together by a logical AND. And just like we learned from the previous video, if a condition has a logical AND, then in order for the whole condition to return true, all the individual conditions must return true. Even if one of the conditions return false, the whole condition will become false. Now in this case, x is equal to 8. So the condition x is less than 10 will return true because x is less than 10 is equal to 8 is less than 10. And 8 is indeed less than 10. So x is less than 10 will return true. So the first condition will return true. Now for the second condition, which is y is strictly equal to 3.42, also returns true because y is equal to 3.42. That's why y is strictly equal to 3.42 returns true. So the first condition on the left hand side returns true, and the second condition on the right hand side also returns true. And because both of these conditions return true, bounded by the logical AND operator, the whole condition returns true. So this whole condition inside the if block returns true, and that's why the code inside the curly braces will be executed. And in this case, the code is simply console.log condition is true. And then we end the pair of curly braces. And the result is we do indeed get the string condition is true logged to the console. And that's because the code inside the parentheses returned true. We had two conditions bounded by the logical AND operator, and both of them returned true, and that's why the whole condition returned true, and that's why the if block got executed. Now let's have the same setup again. So variable x equals 8 and variable y equals 3.42. But in this case, let's mix up the condition a little bit. So if inside the parentheses, instead of using the logical AND operator, let's use the logical OR operator, which is double pipes. Now in this case, we're defining two conditions again. X is less than or equal to 5, or y is not strictly equal to 9. Now in this case, remember with the logical OR operator, at least one of these conditions will need to return true. If one of them returns true, then the whole condition will be true. It doesn't matter what the other conditions return. Even if all the conditions return false and only one of them returns true, still the whole condition will return true. So in this case, the first condition, which is x is less than or equal to 5, returns false, unfortunately, because x is equal to 8, and 8 is not less than or equal to 5. So x is less than or equal to 5 returns false. However, the second condition, y is not strictly equal to 9, does return true, because y is equal to 3.42, which is not equal to 9. So y, or 3.42, is not strictly equal to 9, returns true. And that's why, because the second condition returns true, the whole condition will return true. It doesn't matter what the first condition returns. So even though the first condition returned false, because we're binding these two conditions together using the logical OR operator, the whole condition returns true. So x is less than or equal to 5, or y is not strictly equal to 9 returns true. And that's why the code inside the curly braces is once again executed. And the result is again the string condition is true is logged to the console. And that's how you can have very complex conditions inside the if block. And the code inside the if block will only get executed if the whole condition returns true. For the condition inside the if block, you can have all types of comparison operators, multiple comparison operators binded together by logical operators, and even multiple logical operators nested inside one another. And the if block will only get executed if the whole condition returns true. Now here's a cool example of using the if block in a real world practical condition. So let's say we have a variable called colors. So variable colors equals an array which contains two strings, black and yellow. So we have variable colors which contains an array with two elements, the two strings black and yellow. Now we're defining the if block, and then inside the parentheses we're defining the condition. Now in this case the condition is if not colors.includes aqua, then we'll execute some code. Now let's take a step back right now and find out what this code does. Now the colors is a variable which contains an array, and .includes is a method. Now if you remember from the array module, includes is a method available to arrays that tells you whether a value exists inside the array or not. So for example, in this case, colors.includes the string black would return true because the string black is inside the colors array. Similarly, colors.includes the string yellow would also return true because yellow is also present inside the colors array. But anything other than these two would return false. So in this case, colors.includes aqua would return false because aqua is not included in the colors array. So colors.includes aqua returns false. But we're using the logical not operator. So see the exclamation sign at the very beginning? That is the logical not operator. And remember, the logical not operator inverses the condition. So if it's false, it returns true, and if it's true, it returns false. So in this case, colors.includes aqua would return false, and because we are using logical not, then it would actually return true, and the code inside the if block will actually get executed. If we did not have the logical not operator, then the condition would return false and the code would not be executed. But by using the logical not operator, we're inversing false into true and thus making the code inside the if block execute. So what do we do inside the if block? We're pushing the string aqua into the colors array. So what we're basically doing with this if block is we're checking whether the string aqua is included in the colors array or not. And if it's not, then we're pushing the string aqua into the colors array. So if the colors array already contains the string aqua, the code will not be executed. Otherwise, if the string aqua is not included in the colors array, then it will be included in the colors array. So in this case, you can read this if statement out loud as somewhat like, if the colors array doesn't contain aqua, then add aqua to the colors array, right? So this is a very useful trick that you can use to search for a value inside an array, and if it's not there, you can manually add it to the array inside the if block. And now if we check the colors array, we can see it contains the values black, yellow, and aqua. And that's because the condition inside the if block returned true, and that's why colors.pushAqua ran. And that's why the colors array now contains black, yellow, and aqua. But now if you run this code once again with the colors array containing aqua, then another aqua won't be added because the condition would return false and the code will not be executed. So this is a bit of code that checks whether a string or another value is present inside an array, and if it's not, it adds it to the array. Now let's take a look at a more practical example of using the if block. So let's say you're developing an online store website, such as an e-commerce website, and inside the e-commerce website, you are running a marketing campaign. And according to this marketing campaign, if the total order value of a customer is at least $50, then they get a $10 discount. So in the shopping cart page, you have to calculate whether the customer value is more than or equal to $50 or not. And if it's at least $50, you minus $10 from their order. Otherwise, you don't do anything, and they have to pay the full price. So this is a very simple marketing campaign where you're giving a $10 discount if the order value is at least $50. Very simple, right? And you might have some JavaScript code inside your shopping cart page to handle this. How would you do it? Well, let's say we have a variable called order total, which equals the total order value the customer has. So in this case, we're defining a variable var order total, which equals 69. Now we're manually defining the total order value, but in a real life e-commerce store, you'll likely be getting this order total value from another script or from the server or from any other place. But for this example, we don't want to complicate things, so we're manually inputting a number as the total order value. So in this case, order total is equal to 69 or $69. Now we need to define the code that gives a $10 discount if the order value is at least 50. And we can do that using, you guessed it, the if block. So this is how it looks. So we're saying that if the variable order total is greater than or equal to 50, then minus 10 from the order total variable, and then end the code block. So how does this work? Well, first we're defining the order total variable, which contains a value 69. So the variable order total contains 69. Then we're defining the if block. This is where we check whether the order total is at least $50 or not. If it is, then we give the $10 discount, otherwise we don't. So how do we do that? Well, we check whether the order total value is equal to or greater than $50. So order total is greater than or equal to $50. So in this case, this condition will only return true if the order total is either $50 or more than $50. However, if it's less than $50, this condition would return false and the code inside the if block will not be executed. Fortunately, in this case, the customer order value is 69. So 69 is greater than or equal to 50. And this condition returns true. So order total is greater than or equal to 50 returns true. And thus the code inside the if block gets executed. So what are we doing in the code? Well, we're saying order total minus equals or subtraction assignment 10, which means we're minusing 10 from the order total value. Now, if you remember the previous video, you should be familiar with the subtraction assignment operator, which is the minus equals. We're basically telling order total minus equals 10 means order total equals order total minus 10. So JavaScript will take the value of order total, which is 69, it'll minus 10 from it, so it'll be 59, and this will be the new value reassigned to the order total variable. That's how the subtraction assignment operator works. And now, if we check the value of order total, we can see that it's indeed 59. So this code works. Because we have a total order value of $69, which is more than $50, the code inside the if block did get executed and the $10 discount was applied. So now the order total has been decreased from 69 to 59, and the customer is very happy. But what if the order total value is less than $50? So in this case, we're running the same example, but with var order total set to 25, which is less than 50. And we're defining the same condition if the order total is greater than or equal to 50, then minus $10 from the order total value. And now if we check the value of order total, as you can see, it is still 25. So in this case, 25 is not greater than or equal to 50. So the condition inside the if block returned false. And that's why order total minus equals 10 was not executed. That's why the value of the order total variable was untouched. And that's why the order total variable still contains 25. And no $10 discount has been applied. So this code does indeed work. And that's just a simple example of how you can use the if block to add dynamic logic and behavior to your code.